Now I have to start with a confession. It's something that happened more than 15 years ago, and I thought that some people would judge me for it, so I've tried to keep it a secret. But as the years have gone on, I can't keep it quiet any longer. One night, I was driving home in my yellow Lancer. It was a relatively quiet night, and I was lost in my own thoughts, and out of nowhere, bam, it hit me. I came to the realization that I'm a complete and total road safety nerd. I realized that I had such a sincere passion for helping people and wanted to do my bit to reduce the burden of injury and suffering caused by road trauma. And it seems other people have found me out as well. Thank you to the Australasian College of Road Safety and Transurban for this incredibly humbling honour of this year's Young Leaders Oration Award. Whilst I might have a few greys in my beard and at times groan when I stand up, in the world of road safety, I know the wise words of Master Yoda ring true. Much to learn I still have. I believe that being a young leader in road safety requires passion. It requires empathy, and it requires adaptability and resilience. But I think most importantly, it requires a clear vision for the future. Thankfully, we as road safety professionals are united in our vision to achieve zero fatal and serious injuries by 2050. So I wanted to start by asking, are we on track to achieving this shared goal of Vision Zero by 2050? As the figures indicate, our annual fatalities in Australia don't appear to be significantly improving, and our serious injuries appear to show that at best a demonstrated plateau in recent years, and at worst an increasing trauma trend. So the focus of my oration will be centred around what I believe are some key aspects of the system that need to change to achieve Vision Zero. And this is centred around three key areas. Firstly, I believe that we're in the midst of a paradigm shift away from the safe system, and this change is necessary to understand the wider system that contributes to road trauma. Secondly, I believe that greater effort is needed to understand the complex and intricate relationship between fatalities and serious injuries. And lastly, I believe it is paramount for the transport and road safety community to cultivate stronger ties with the health sector. So the first key area. The safe system model has served us well in understanding some of the key levers we have to manage injury crashes. It has also been a simple, valuable tool which helps to provide a common language bringing all road safety stakeholders together. But these 4 to 5 pillars are a narrow and siloed representation of a complex socio-technical system in which the road transport network operates in. The SAFE system also does not sufficiently acknowledge how elements of a broader system interact with each other. For example, drug driving policies and enforcement may have limited impact on recidivist behaviour of a driver if they have a broader drug addiction problem to begin with. And the limitations of the SAFE system become even more apparent when we look at our simplified definition of vulnerability. We traditionally view vulnerability as the physical vulnerabilities to crashes that pedestrians, cyclists and motorcyclists experience. But what about socioeconomic vulnerabilities, such as accessibility to newer, safer vehicles? Cognitive vulnerabilities, such as the cognitive processing limitations of those with psychological conditions, as well as those with intentions to commit acts of self-harm. Medical and health vulnerabilities, such as those with physical disabilities or health conditions which prevent them from being able to safely interact with the road network, or those with alcohol and drug dependencies. Gendered vulnerabilities, to ensure a safe and equitable transport network for women and mitigating the risks of women being victims of road violence where vehicles can be used as a weapon. These vulnerabilities are only adequately addressed by conceptualizing the road network as one element within a broader socio-technical system and adopting a systems thinking approach to addressing trauma on our roads. We must also explore the complex relationship between fatal and serious injuries. Despite being a key measure of our path to zero, serious injuries are often not explicitly addressed or frequently reported on. This is despite there being around 30 serious injuries for every one fatality in Australia. I believe that this is, in part, due to an inherent assumption that addressing fatal crashes will also address serious injury crashes. That is, that fatal crashes are just higher energy, more severe serious injury crashes. But is this necessarily true? Evidence suggests that fatal and serious injury crashes occur in different areas, have different crash types, and occur to varying degrees for different road user classes. As such, it is plausible that serious injury crashes possess certain properties that require a different targeted approach to address them. A more complete understanding of how fatalities and serious injuries occur on our network can further be supported by utilising machine learning models to identify the similarities and differences between these crash outcomes. The last area where I think we need significant effort to achieve Vision Zero is around our relationship with the health sector. Transport and health are inextricably interconnected. Our trauma problem is also their trauma problem. And a core tenet of Vision Zero, which is often overlooked, is that life and health can never be exchanged for other benefits within society. There are two key areas where I believe we can strengthen our partnership with health. Firstly, around the quality of crash data. This is vital to enable us to better understand not only who, how, and where people are sustaining injuries, but how our injury burden evolves over time as we start to see substantial reductions in our trauma trends. The other area, which I believe we don't support enough, is around post-crash response and care. It is well established that efficient transfer of road crash victims to emergency care significantly improves their injury outcomes. Critical to this is the early detection and notification of crashes, which can be achieved through the fast-tracked implementation of technology such as eCall. However, this requires supporting telecommunication infrastructure, particularly in regional areas, as well as newer vehicle fleets which have the technology available. Early access to emergency care can also be supported by utilising existing crash barrier infrastructure, which can be fitted with technology to detect and notify road authorities of high-energy crashes in real time. This also has the added benefit of a more precise geolocation of crash sites, as well as expediting maintenance of barriers to ensure their continued performance. Cultivating a closer relationship with health not only supports a safer transport network, but also reduces the injury burden placed on our health system. Lastly, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the many giants of road safety that have inspired and mentored me throughout my career to date. Whilst there are too many of you to name individually, I would like to particularly acknowledge Professor Anne Williamson, Bernard Carlin, David McTiernan, Duncan McRae, Dr. John Crozier, Dr. Julie Hatfield, Professor Mike Regan, Mick Timms, and Dr. Ralston Fernandez. Each of you have inspired me in your own way with your exceptional knowledge, passion, tenacity, dedication and commitment to improving road safety and, importantly, supporting the next generation of road safety professionals. Thank you once again to the College and Transurban for presenting me with this opportunity, and I hope within my lifetime I will see a road network with zero fatalities and serious injuries.